Howdy folks, I'm Bouncy Bathing Suit, boldly bouncing beneath bright, beachy breezes.
I'm Amber.
And here are more bright, beachy breezes for us to bounce around in. And just grab your bathing suit, play some volleyball, and then you'll be bouncing, right? Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Mad That My Husband Let a Stranger In? I got mad at my husband for letting a stranger in to take a dump. Some guy rang our doorbell and said that he was a door-to-door salesman. He had one of those Segways, and he needed to use the restroom. My husband let him in. The guy stank it up. We could have been the next ones on Unsolved Mysteries. What was my husband thinking? I appreciate his trustworthiness and kindness, but nope. What would you have done? I was working upstairs, and I heard him in the bathroom. I locked myself in my office with the pepper spray. Lol. I'm thinking to my husband that you're on your own if you let an axe murderer in. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, I don't think either of them is a jerk in this situation. You know, I understand OP's apprehension. I'm probably more on the side of OP where I would feel very wary about letting a stranger into my house, especially because sometimes people use the guise of having to use the bathroom either to like break in then or to canvass your house to break in later. But I also understand that the husband's perspective of like wanting to help a stranger in need.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be cultural because it could be that she is more from a more urban area where you generally might not let a stranger into your house because in an urban area, you know, there are more resources, there are more facilities that somebody might be able to stop in at and utilize. And it could be the husband is from a culture where letting in a stranger is just fine. I know, like in rural areas, that tends to be more common because you're out in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes you might need to rely on the kindness of a stranger in a pinch, right? So, I mean, I know where I grew up, we were kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and sometimes you might have to help a stranger out. But also, that was in the days before cell phones and all those kinds of things. Nowadays, if you have a cell phone, then you're never truly in a bad situation where where you have no ability to help somebody else, as long as you have a cell phone and as long as you have cell phone service, right? And there are still places that don't have cell phone service, though. You know, and I mean, I remember like when I was young that, for instance, we stopped and helped a car that was broken down on the side of the road and helped them change a tire or something like that, right? Now, nowadays, that isn't something that you generally would do because people have cell phones. They can be able to reach out and get help. And, you know, it's just not as common to stop by to help somebody on the side of the road because a lot of people don't necessarily want to be helped because they have a cell phone. They're calling, you know, AAA or something like that. Or two, you know, you don't necessarily want to help somebody who is broken down because you might be afraid that they might take advantage of your help or deceive you or something like that, right? So it's a bit tricky. I understand where the wife is coming from here, but I also think like this might just be a difference in culture. He might be from a culture where it's perfectly acceptable to help a stranger in need. She might be from a culture where it's really viewed as very disconcerting if you might let a person into your house who's a complete stranger. So I understand where both of them are coming from.
Yeah, but they probably need to have a serious conversation and come up with an agreement.
Yeah, and I think that's really what's important here is like they both need to be on board with what the procedure is when a stranger comes to the door. And I think that that needs to be something that they're both comfortable with and both able to, talk to each other and work that out. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Armadillo of Doom says, not the jerk, survival instincts of a croissant. And Jittery Raccoon says, at least a croissant is flaky and wouldn't have given a yes or a no. And Frying the Cat 66 says, laughing my butt off. Not Unique Scott says, this happened to my parents once. My dad refused to let the guy in and he crapped in our yard. And Puzzle-Headed Ad 7606 says, some of these commenters need to Google true crime cases where this is exactly how the robber / rapist / murderer got in and see how many there are. Better safe than polite. And TC Lynn says, happened at a yardage I threw. A woman with a painted expression begged for forgiveness to use my bathroom. I accommodated her needs because that's how I was raised. I will never regret common courtesy. And the Fallen Hero 1 says, because you're actually a good person. All of these people in the comments are genuinely astonishing. And Jesse Plays Sims says, 1. Always be careful. 2. Always offer kindness where you can. And Hubby must have felt that he could take him. And Vertical Mechanic says, I don't see a problem. Everybody assuming the worst about somebody just needing a favor is why this world is so messed up. In my neighborhood, I can see them coming and going, so I know that they are legit salespeople who annoy me to no end. Also note, I am a large man who knows how to handle himself. If my wife did it, I would have a different opinion. In exchange, I would have bartered to be removed from their route permanently. But that's just a side quest. It looks like everyone is very split on this one. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for pausing a game abruptly because I felt excluded? Me, my significant other, and 2 others were playing a mystery-solving game that requires us to think, coordinate, and collaborate to finish the game. We paused our progress to do another activity and would resume after being done. As we were done with the other activity, I went into me and my significant other's room to get myself ready. My significant other came and said, please don't be mad at me, but I solved the riddle. I was surprised and I asked her how she solved it. She told me that she continued solving it and found the solution. I didn't like that because it made me feel left out. I asked her why she didn't just wait until we all were ready to continue. She told me that one other was sitting there already and she joined and then started solving it. Then the other one was there as well, leaving only me that was left. I asked why they didn't inform me at all on whether to join, as I thought everyone else was getting themselves ready as I was. My significant other told me that she was impatient and wanted to solve it. I told her that even though we started playing with 4 people and my significant other mentioning teamwork before actually starting the game, that it feels like I'm being left out from the experience and fun. For some context, I started playing this game with just my significant other and we both loved it so much that we wanted to include the other 2 as well. This is our second game with all 4 of us. On the first game, I was worried that because we are with 4, that it would be difficult to collaborate and therefore exclude others. I myself don't like being excluded from activities, which makes me pay attention and try to make others included. The first game went really well, and I felt good that we could share this experience with each other, and I brought another standalone game from the same brand. I tried to make my significant other understand my side, but I was met with defensiveness and annoyedness. She rolled her eyes and told me that it's my opinion and that she has her own opinion. We all gathered at the game and resumed the session, but I myself just could not continue playing because I felt left out. I told them that I would be laying in bed, and they stopped playing shortly after that. My significant other came into the room and just did not really talk to me. I asked her if we could talk, and we talked. I told her how I felt left out because of how I was not informed. She told me that she really wanted to solve the riddle and continue playing. I told her that by her solving it herself, that it did not feel like teamwork-based game, and that she might as well have played by herself. I was met with more annoyedness and frustration that she would, and the situation felt tense, and I got asked if it was worth turning a small thing into a big problem. To me, it's not about solving the riddle, but the principle of waiting to include people that you started playing with. I was not notified and therefore left out from the whole solving experience that they experienced but me. Am I the jerk? Edit. Riddle was part of the next step. It was only my significant other that solved it. One other was sitting at the table and the other got to find out that it was solved just like me. I was the last person to join the table as soon as I got informed by my significant other. All right, folks, what do you think?
I mean, what was this activity that you were pausing this game for? Was that something that everyone was invested in? Because it sounds like OP was off doing their own thing while everyone else was kind of sitting around twiddling their thumbs. And why did you need to get dressed and freshen up to continue playing the mystery game? Like, I have some questions here, and I think OP may not be realizing how their actions are affecting others. Like, if everyone was really invested in doing this other activity and agreed to then like get all gussied up, and then they did this without behind OP's back, I could understand OP's frustration a little more. But if OP was the one who was like, okay, let's pause this, okay, I gotta go get changed, and they're just kind of sitting there twiddling their thumbs, then OP's not valuing their time. And I can understand why they would want to keep playing.
Yeah, and also I understand OP feeling left out for one puzzle, but it sounds like one puzzle out of a much, much larger set of puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they completed half the game without OP, right? They completed one puzzle that OP didn't get to participate in, and then they now aren't solving any of the puzzles because OP is kind of throwing a temper tantrum here, right? I understand OP feeling a little hurt, but I mean, if you're going to invite people over, then maybe there needs to be a standing policy that you all don't interrupt your game to do something different, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like what Amber was saying, where the wife was really invested in continuing to play, and she just was feeling very excited about it. Sometimes, like, when there's a puzzle, it can be really tempting to want to continue to work on that puzzle
Mm-hmm.
and to just continue to progress it. And it may not have been that she was setting out to solve it. It could just be that she, was enjoying the process of solving it, and then it just came to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand OP's frustration, but also I do think that they made this a bigger situation than it really needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. You're the jerk, and that's an understatement.
Wheel really doesn't like having their games paused.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Snooped on my husband, a 23-year-old male's phone, and found him using AI to plan out how to cheat on me, a 22-year-old female. Am I crazy to leave over this? For some background, we got married pretty young. The last 6 to 7 months have been absolutely terrible for me because I've been buried in stress writing my university dissertation. I was exhausted all the time, but I still continually tried to initiate dates or just get us out of the house to keep our connection alive. He refused the majority of the time and just wanted to stay indoors, which honestly left me feeling super isolated and depressed. Well, I recently went through his phone and found out exactly what he's been doing while sitting around the house. I found a massive history of him talking to an AI chatbot, and I'm honestly sick to my stomach. It wasn't just him messing around, he is literally using the AI as a wingman because he's too scared to talk to women in real life. Here are just a few of the ridiculous things that I found. We were literally staying together at a hotel, and he was messaging the AI asking for a physiological breakdown on how to approach a girl that he saw vaping in the lobby. He wanted to go sit by her, but told the AI, I don't know how to actually talk. Later, he asked the AI what would happen if they crossed paths again, trying to figure out if he played his cards right. He wrote proper paragraphs to the AI about a girl at his gym, begging to know what soft signs he should give her. He told the AI there was tension, but he wanted to be sure that she was interested before he made a move. He was uploading selfies to a bot asking to rate his face based on looks maxing standards. He admitted that he has a crippling fear of approaching women and would be fumbling all over the place, complaining that girls just don't come up to him. But the absolute worst part is this ridiculous, hypocritical way that he would talk about me. He literally listed out to the AI how I'm the perfect partner. He admitted that I'm very traditional housewife, that I'm incredibly loyal and loving, that I call his parents frequently, and I even get sick in bed with him when he's sick and take care of him. But in the exact same breath, he completely trashed me because I don't act like a porn star. He told the AI that I'm dumb, I'm a bimbo, I'm an unemployed bimbo, and a professional couch potato. He whined that my loyalty is boring and that he needs chaos, attraction, sexy bold stuff, some tension, and some push and pull. He literally told the AI that I'm his primary wife and compared me to a classic Prius, meant to be the mother of his children and represent him in his cultural family. Meanwhile, he said that he wants a wife B who is his blonde baddie and a McLaurin for his fantasies. Looking back, he used to come home from the gym and tell me about girls staring at him. Whenever I got suspicious, he would say, "Why would you be so suspicious?" I'm literally telling you about her. If I was hiding something, I wouldn't say anything. Now I realize that he was feeding me just enough truth to make me trust him while secretly begging a robot to teach him how to cheat. Well, when I confronted him, I told him that I was leaving. He completely flipped the script. He called me crazy for ruining our entire marriage over him talking to a robot, and swore up and down that he never actually did anything physical with these women. But honestly, even if he didn't physically cheat yet, to me, it's the fact that he even thought like this in the first place. He is actively planning it, workshopping pickup artist tactics, and views me as a boring appliance keeping his life stable while he plots on how to cheat on me. Am I overreacting by ending the marriage over this? I feel completely betrayed by his intent alone, but he is trying so hard to convince me that I'm being ridiculous for throwing it all away over a chatbot. Edit, I actually wanted to divorce him last year because of his anger issues and behaviors, which were very alarming. We took a break from each other for a bit and then ended up getting back together because I really wanted to make things work. But I never in a million years imagined that he would be the type of guy to do something like this behind my back. What makes this betrayal hurt the most is that he knows exactly how vulnerable and sensitive I am with him. He is the first man that I've ever been with. He is literally my first everything. I poured my entire heart into him, and I promised myself that he would be my first and last because of how deeply I loved him. He held that level of innocent trust and complete vulnerability in his hands. He knew exactly what he meant to me and how much I valued our bond. Knowing all that, he still chose to sit next to me and use an AI to map out how to pick up strangers. He weaponized my love and inexperience against me, knowing that I was too terrified of losing him to walk away. That's exactly why it disgusts me so much. I fought for this relationship just for him to do this. To some people asking why I was looking through his phone in the first place, I was never snooping. I didn't feel the need to because I actually trusted him. But recently, anytime I even reached for his phone just to take a simple picture or look at something innocent, he would literally snatch it out of my hands and get incredibly defensive. You don't act like a cornered animal over a phone unless you're hiding something. Plus, he already has a history of keeping sketchy stuff on his device, like the time he randomly found a female porn star's name and saved it in his notes app. But the absolute most infuriating part is the double standard. He used to constantly take my phone and read through my private messages with my parents and friends. He even demanded the login to my Instagram account, but I was strictly forbidden from ever having his. Honestly, typing all of this out makes me realize just how naive and blind I was. I spent so much energy just trying to prove my worth to him. We got married when I was 19, and I had this stupid, childish fear that if I lost him, I would never find someone who truly loved me again. I built all of these plans for our future around that fear. I guess that's just basic 19-year-old logic, but looking back, I can't believe how much control I handed over to somebody who was actively planning to betray me. Edit 2, I'm breaking it off for good. Thank you to everyone who gave me a reality check that I needed to finally do the right thing. I always knew in my gut what had to happen, but because this was my first relationship, walking away was terrifying. It hasn't been easy, but I am fully emotionally checked out, and there's absolutely no turning back. And if he tries to threaten me, lie, or trash talk me to save face, he's in for a treat. I have over 20 pictures of hard evidence saved from his AI chatbot. I have all the proof that I need, and I'm out. All right, folks, what do you think?
Good on OP for getting out of this relationship. It's very clear, especially with all this extra context, that he is a manipulative person. And this isn't, you're not leaving him over an AI chat. You're leaving over him detailing his plans to cheat on you and telling essentially how little he values you, that he wants to keep you around as like the mother of his children, but he's not, needs like his wild woman too and whatnot. Like, he's upset now because he's losing his safety. He's not upset because he's you, because he cares about you. He cares about what you do for him, and he wants that safety and stability that you provide.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really what this boils down to. He doesn't really he just wants OP as his fallback plan.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like he can't even talk to women. And so like he's fantasizing about being able to, approach these women and stuff like that, and wants OP as a safety net so that when, these women reject him, he can go back to OP and be, at least not be completely alone by himself, right? I think that OP is absolutely doing the right thing. I'm glad they're leaving the situation. There is no turning back from this. This is a huge betrayal, and I think like if you were to find something on somebody's phone talking to their buddy on how best to cheat on their wife, would that be any different? Would you say, oh, well, it's just, guy talk or something like that, right? I don't think so. And I mean, I think like that wouldn't be acceptable in that situation, and it's not acceptable in this situation, right? They are looking for external validation on how to execute their plans, right? It doesn't matter the source of that. What matters is that they have intent, and that's really what matters. And the fact that he is trying to manipulate OP and it's like, oh, look at all the women that are approaching me and talking to me in the gym, right? While basically trying to make it so that when OP does ask questions, he's like, oh no, I would never cheat on you. Why would you accuse me of this?
Mm-hmm.
Like planting those seeds so that if OP ever does say something, then he's like, we already had this discussion. Why are you doing this? I would never cheat on you type of thing,
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't tell you about it if I
Yeah.
was going to do anything about it.
Yeah. So I think that there is a lot of cowardice in his stance here, and I think that OP doesn't need this person in their life, and that's really what this boils down to. At the end of the day, OP needs to do what they feel is right for themselves, and I think that they are making the proper decision for themselves here, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
What does a basketball genie give you?
A basketball genie? Well, I imagine it gives you like 3 pointers or something like that.
3 swishes.
3 swishes? Oh, I guess so. I guess so. And I have Earl Grey. And folks, today is a very special day. It's Stranger Danger Day. So make sure to go find a stranger and invite them into your house.
I no, that's no.
All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on ruining puzzles.
If you agree to play a puzzle game together, it's best if you play it together, but that should also mean everyone stays at the table to play.
Probably. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!